Well, it's cold outside, 17 degrees here in Pennsylvania, but it is getting warm in the Spooky Nook Sports Complex. Welcome to the 2022 Lancaster Archery Classic from Mannheim, Pennsylvania, as the stage is set for archery, a full day. Hello, everyone. I'm Greg White, sitting alongside Rob Morgan, who's going to join me for a couple of these events this morning. And we're here because it is time to get our final day of the 2022 Lancaster Archery Classic underway. Now, if you're new to the Lancaster Archery Classic, let's take a look at the rules and what they're shooting. First of all, they're 18 meters from where they stand to the target downrange. And in this particular tournament, they're shooting at a 40-centimeter target. Now, the top four qualify, and the rank ties are broken by 11s, and the 11 is the middle ring. We're going to talk more about that. And in this one, it's a bottom-up format. So 4 is going to shoot against 3. Whoever wins that advances and shoots against second, and then whoever wins that goes for the number 1 spot. But for 2022, we have a couple of new items. Number 1, max points now 136 in these matches, 12 arrows. Why? Because we have a 12 ring, 1.5 centimeter white dot. It must be called for it to count, and we're going to tell you about that in a little bit. And you're only allowed 1 call per end, so that's new for 2022. Now, let's get to our third member of our broadcast team, PJ Riley, who's going to introduce our archers to the field of play.
All right, let's get things kicked off. We're going to start off with the folks who get up early every day. Our Masters Open Pro. If you're over 50, you're up at 5 no matter what. We'll start off with our 4th place qualifier, George Ryals from Snellville, Georgia. George, of course, is the 2021 Tokyo Paralympics USA head coach. Our number 3 qualifier, Mike Jablonski from West Branch, Michigan. Mike's been shooting for 15 years. Mike's the higher rank, so he's going to get to choose where and when he shoots.
All right, so what the judge is explaining now to the archers is the process, Rob, of what they do to call the 12 ring. So you can see on the platforms at the very front, there's a little red button there. If they want to call the 12 ring at any time during each one of these 4 ends of competition, they just simply step on the light. That's going to illuminate a red light underneath to indicate to the judges that they want to shoot for that 12 ring. If you don't call it and you hit it, tough luck.
10.
All right, Rob. This is the Senior Pro Masters Open Pro category, 50 plus. It's one that you competed in. And let's talk about what's real for these archers compared to the younger folks that end up stepping on top of the platform. Things can look a little different for this class, can it?
Oh man, just the struggles. Your eyes aren't what they used to be for sure.
11.
The young guys, they all got clear vision. They can see the X, and sometimes we can see the X, sometimes we can't. It's pretty blurry.
And the thing that's interesting about this class is if we look across the talent that's here, we can't think of anyone who's a full-time archer anymore. Everybody seems to have a job in this class, don't they?
Yeah, everybody's working here. The money's not quite as big in the seniors as it is for the younger guys, so yeah, everybody's got a job.
Look at George Ryals, who I think this is George's first year competing in the Masters Open category. He's got the PJ.
Along with me, yep. George's first year.
You got the nerves, George?
Big time, like the most ever. Yeah.
George, you're a coach. You coach the Paralympic team, but you have your Hornets team at home there. Just tell us a little bit about your archery career. I know you shot the Classic before, but I don't think you've been on this stage before?
Way back in the early beginnings, I got this far, but not in a while. It's been a long time.
So I've seen your videos. I know you put your students through shooting on this stage. How's it feel for you to be up here?
Well, I feel like I'm more nervous than they are when they do this.
All right, George. Well, congratulations on a great weekend. We'll be talking to you some more. Mike Jablonski, tell us a little bit about your classic history.
I've been coming here, I think I missed 2 years since 2008, and never made it up to the stage, so.
First time on the stage, how's it feel?
It was good, a little nervous, but I'm gonna get through it.
Does it help that it's early in the morning and, you know?
Much anyways.
All right, thanks guys. We'll get competition going. We're at 32-28 in favor of Mike.
Mike, you have a choice to shoot first or second. First, shooting second.
So the first score, 32-38. If you're new to archery, of course, it's 3 arrows per what we call an end. So each time you have a cluster of arrows that you're going to stop shooting and then you go score, we call it an end. But Rob Morgan, the thing about these archers is that, don't you feel that it's literally draw to draw sometimes? You can draw back, everything feels right. You feel like you're 20 years old again. You can just throw it right in the middle, and then other times you just draw it back once and you're like, why is everything shaking?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. You still have the days, though, where you're like, yeah, I can compete with those guys, and then you have the other days where the bow just will not sit.
Now, you own a bow shop. Tell us a little bit about your shop.
Yeah, we got a shop up in Montana. That's what we do full time, 6 days a week. And then we get to play sometimes, get to take a few days off and go to a tournament.
So do you deal with a lot of like a wide range of archers, from new archers to archers that have been either hunting or competing for a long time? Great shooting by Mike.
No, that's pretty solid there for Mike. He took me out yesterday. Thanks, Mike.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
On the way through elimination rounds.
Yep. No, we have a ton of kids, a lot of beginners. Our main focus there is bow hunting. We really don't have a strong target crowd. Even though Tate, Chris, and I, both hail from there, it's just target's not the big thing there.
Well, I have an Ultraview scope made by one of the Hornets. Yes. I have a Shibuya sight, Hoyt Invicta, Hamsky Rest, Ultraview hinge release. So got some good stuff here.
Easton 2315.
Yeah, they're vintage cobalts. Yeah. So I brought these out for a tournament that Joe Catt put on, Nostalgia Bow Shoot, where everybody showed up with 100-year-old bows and shot, and I just love these things.
And apparently they're working.
They do well. Yeah, when I do well, they do well.
All right, Mike, we'll get to you in a second. Of course, George is shouting out to the UV crew, Colby Hanley, Ultraview, one of our sponsors here, makers of the UV scopes and the hinge. 65-61.
Looking at Jablonski shoot, I mean, it's just, the form is there, it's solid. I mean, when you look at him and you say, okay, Mike, he's only been shooting, he says, for 15 years. And I say only because George has been shooting for 40 years. But Mike Jablonski looks solid this morning.
Yeah, Mike's been solid, though, for really his whole career, even though he hasn't been shooting as long as most of us.
Do you find in a category like this, every now and then you run across someone who is not shooting a newer bow, that has that bow from 20 years ago that felt good, and they just won't give it up? Or does this category often, like me, who shoots in this category, just look at the new stuff and want to be able to shoot the new stuff?
I still think we still want to shoot the new stuff, Definitely, you have those bows that you love that you never want to give up, but we all love to shoot the new bows.
11.
George Ryals starting to find his rhythm, also known around these parts as Griv. Starting to get in the flow.
11.
So one slight bobble in this one now. Look, next week we're in Vegas, and hitting that second ring all day long is all you need. But in this game, that little X ring in the middle counts as 11. And that's the white dot right down there on that 7-6 ring, or the 8-7 ring, is what people have the option to shoot each end.
Excel sight, housing, feather vision lens, 6 power, AAE rods. We got Freak Show Rest, 777s, triple X, the
What release you got?
I got the goat. Shoot.
Goat. All right, true ball. Looks like it's working for you, Mike. Good shooting. Heading into the last end, we've got Mike 97, George 93.
All right, so if you're George at this point, you're in the last end. Are you going to at least try to click the button at one point and go for a 12? What do you think?
Oh, most definitely. Why not? I mean,
The funny thing is that when I was up on the stage practicing it, and I was in my rhythm of shoot, shoot, buzzer, shoot, I forgot. I kept forgetting the 12 was there because it's never there. It's new to, so. And at least George has somebody in his coaching box that could remind him.
that's going to be an interesting strategy throughout the day to see who actually shoots at the 12 and what time they shoot at it.
Mm-hmm.
11.
And by the way, if you're George Ryals, not only do you have the tournament result on the line, but you got a lot of students that are behind you that are looking to make fun of you if you don't make the podium in this one. He knew it on the release there. Every now and then, Rob, we have one that you just want back, right?
Oh, yes. Unfortunately, it happens more and more as we get older.
So down at the target, we'll have judges that'll take a look, and there are a couple of them down there that are line calls. So the judge is going to break out that magnifying glass and the light. What they're looking for there is what, Rob?
Make sure, like on this arrow, did it actually touch the 10 line? It just needs to touch, but it kind of looks like there's maybe,
Yeah, look, yeah. When she shines the light, it looks like there's just a little bit of yellow.
tiny sliver.
If there's any yellow between that line, it'll get the lower value. But as it touches the line, you get that higher value. So we're waiting for those official scores, but we know even with the split that it looks like Mike Jablonski's going to advance to the next round.
All right, our score is final.
So the score is final.
George Ryals 123 for finishing
123 for George Ryals, 128. So it looks like Mike Jablonski, who is our third place qualifier after qualification and eliminations, he'll advance to shoot against our second place qualifier. And George Ryals, great effort, and he leaves with $1,000.
Our second place qualifier from Provo, Utah, Tim the Hammer Gillingham. Tim was born shooting archery. And we can't wait to talk about that bow.
Well, the fact that he got Kyle Douglas up this early is pretty good because Kyle's got to shoot the last match of the day. If I was Kyle Douglas, I would have said, I'm going to bed. But here comes Tim Gillingham up on the stage. Big, tall, knowledgeable, outspoken shooter, to say the least. And if you're looking at that rig right there, the one thing to know about Tim Gillingham, Rob, is he doesn't care what it looks like. He's going to do anything to shoot well.
Tim is definitely not afraid to try. It's an interesting setup he's got going on.
We're going to let him tell you about it, but definitely a couple sets of beasting stabilizers on the front.
11.
All right, so indication is it works for him, 100%. What is interesting, though, is that Tim Gillingham had the option of what side he wanted to shoot on, and he didn't move Mike off the spot. He left him sitting there.
Yeah, my strategy, I would definitely make the guy move because the lighting is going to be different from side to side.
Mm-hmm. And knowing Tim Gillingham, he was here. He made a strategy. he wrote it down, so it's not like he just walked up on stage and said, I don't know, I'll pick a side. He definitely has a strategy coming in.
Definitely. He thought about it all night.
Oh, all night.
11-33.
Wasn't happy with that shot, but it got up there. Oh, now we get to hear from Tim.
Welcome to the big stage. It's been a while since you've been up here.
Yeah, well, I have my indoor issues.
But you won this. I know I saw a picture way back in the day. When was that?
I think it was the second one that they had, yeah.
You've been coming most years?
Yeah, I've come every year.
Every year. All right. Well, we appreciate you coming out. How's it feel? You feel comfortable up there?
Yeah, not bad, actually.
All right. That's good to hear. Thanks, Tim. We'll talk about that bow here next time, because I'm sure that's going to take a while.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. There was a meme on the thing called the internet, the social media, and they had a picture of his setup there with tennis balls on the end saying it was a walker. It's pretty funny.
We're getting there.
But look, I had a chance to go talk to Tim about that setup, and he's going to tell us more about it. But the bottom line is the whole thing for Tim is about the stability of the bow. And he was talking about shooting uphill, shooting downhill. It feels exactly the same. And that's what it's all about for Tim. You know, trying something, and he comes up with stuff new, and he is extremely knowledgeable in archery. And he almost has like an engineer mind in a way.
Oh, definitely. Tim, I would love to see Tim's workshop at home.
Oh, yeah.
He makes a lot of things.
He definitely does. Uncharacteristic 9 for Jablonski. And Mike Jablonski says that he loves the rush of archery, and he really enjoys all the people. It's what keeps him motivated. And what started him in archery 15 years ago is actually just his friends. His friends got him interested and motivated in it. Looks like Tim Gillingham's starting to pull away a bit. Here's PJ with Tim's answers.
That?
Yes, that.
Oh, that's the future.
Run through what you got, and then we'll talk about the why.
All right, well, I got two 30-inch B-Singer Premier Pluses out front on my own little custom bracket I've been running for a couple years. 20-inch V-bars creates a very high level of moments of inertia. I was just getting a little left to right in my setup and just got the idea to try that, and it actually works quite well.
And what bow you got there?
I have a Bowtech 38 Reckoning. Been shooting it for this is my third year with it. Love the bow, just phenomenal. Had a lot of success with it. It's super easy to tune. You know, the new Bowtech deadlock cams and pockets are just really unbeatable in my opinion.
And is it coincidence that you also are in the business of selling stabilizers?
Well, one could say that maybe.
All right, Tim, good shooting so far. Tim holds 65-61 lead.
What is interesting, though, is that one of the questions that Tim gets at the show when people see his new stabilizer setup is on the line. When we shoot, you know, we're not that far apart. I mean, we're probably one body width apart. But you'd be surprised when you look at those stabilizers, they do wrap around Tim pretty closely. And I've shot with him outdoors with a setup like this and indoors, and it doesn't bother you at all. It doesn't affect the shooter next to him, you know, and that's the thing he is aware of that and conscious of that.
Yeah, you don't. I shot by him the other day, and yeah, you really don't notice it at all.
Can make fun of him, though.
Oh, you can, definitely.
11.
Well, you've shot with him. Rob, you know the stories. When Tim Gillingham mentioned his problems indoor, do you know what those problems are? Have you seen them?
Tim's definitely got some demons. It's one day you can't beat him, the next day, yeah, he struggles. I think just his style of shooting, one day his mind really cooperates, and the next day it's kind of scrambled up there.
100%. And that is the struggle of archery, though, isn't it?
It is.
It certainly is. Sometimes for a guy like Tim, though, it shows up big. And the one thing I've noticed in shooting outdoor with him is that if it's windy, he's unbeatable because his mind is occupied with all the stuff that goes on when you're having to deal with windy conditions. It's those conditions when it's calm and nothing's going on that his mind can get away from him. And that's why I think indoor, as he and I have talked about before, indoor is a struggle because there's nothing to distract him from the dullness, and then that stuff creeps into your brain like, hey, did I leave the iron on? And then boom, you shoot a 9.
Yeah, no, it definitely, indoors is a game of perfection, you know, that game of I can't miss.
As a shop owner, you guys have an indoor range at your shop?
Yeah, we got a full range inside, so we spend a little time out there, not as much as we'd like to, but a little.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, isn't it, though, Rob? Like, people who come into archery, they love archery, and then they say, I'm going to get a job in archery, and then their shooting drops, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They don't, when you're at the archery shop for 10 hours, really, I don't want to shoot my bow at night, so, you know.
So looking at Tim Gillingham, he's out of Utah, Provo, Utah, and Mike Jablonski here is out of Michigan. It just seems like that Montana area where you're from, Idaho, Utah area, you guys can produce some crazy good tournament shooters. Why is that?
We've got some great natural talent up there, and I think it's the people who are around all the time. You know, when you're around the best people and shoot with the best people, it just kind of, you naturally gravitate that way, and you just strive to be better and better and better.
And you know, that's one of the things about coming to a place like the Lancaster Archery Classic is Tim Gillingham spends all his day in a booth. You know, he's in the gold tip beasting stabilizer booth, and you can go up there and have a conversation with him and ask him why. And he might, you know, illuminate you to some things that you can try as an archer that are going to help your setup. Well, we're getting down to it in this match as Tim Gillingham throws another 11 down range. See that Tim Gillingham still with a 3-point lead over Jablonski. Well, the winner of this match is going to advance to shoot against the #1 qualifier and try to knock the #1 qualifier off and grab the top step of the podium. We know that Gillingham or Jablonski are going to end up on the box no matter what. All right, for Tim here, if he can squeeze off a solid shot. This is good. You know, that third target's been bugging him a little bit. You can see that it's been low on the third one. That's what you need to get done. Nobody calling the 12.
11.
Solid as you like. And Tim Gillingham, after official scoring, is going to advance. Great shooting first thing in the morning for both archers. That's a solid looking 12. When we get to this level in compound, especially when we get to the end of the day with Open Pro, I mean, it's just what we expect to see. 33s the whole time.
It is. It's what you push yourself, you know, every time. That's all you really aim at is the X.
So Tim Gillingham with a 130, Mike Jablonski with a 127, and he will be credited with third in this tournament, so a good run for Jablonski. Now when you look at qualification and you look at eliminations and you combine the total scores, for the Masters Open category, 924 points total. Tim Gillingham shot 909, but the next competitor we're bringing out, 912 total points.
Randy Morocco from Strongsville, Ohio. Randy gets to choose.
All right, so Randy gets to choose, and we'll see what he. Oh, all right, he didn't knock Tim off his spot.
No,
Okay, step right up here.
I would definitely make a move.
You also get to
We're-
choose.
Just a little bit of lighting difference from lane to lane.
That's all I'm saying. So what, should we rename this class the gentleman's class?
Yeah, it is. It's totally different. You know, we're up there. We have a good time. It's competitive, but it's not as competitive.
Yeah, I think you kind of get to a certain point when you're 50 or over, that edge that you know that you can be competitive. You can still want to be competitive and have that competitive edge, but there's been a lot of experiences between you and the people you're shooting against.
Oh yeah, and I mean, we all want to win. We all come to win. But at the end of the day, you know, when somebody shoots great, it's good. You know, we're all friends out there.
All right, so what you're looking at, don't worry about the names on this one. I think that initially they just kind of switched the names around. So right now you're looking at the name on top of the target.
10.
That's actually Randy Morocco's target. So I'm sure that they'll switch the names here in a second. So far, so good for Tim Gillingham. No demons have popped up.
11.
See if Gillingham can get a 1 point advantage. It does. So he goes another 33 for Tim. Let's hear from PJ.
Randy, welcome to the final stage. How long have you been coming to the class?
About 5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years. Have you made it to the final stage before?
I have in 2019. I mean, actually 2020.
2020, all right. How's it feel? Feel familiar? Nerves? How's it going?
Feels a lot better than last time. First time I was on the stage, it was quite nerve-wracking, but it's nice to be back.
Now you're comfortable up there.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but we're doing it better than I did the first time. So,
All right, Randy, great opening round there. This one's going to be a tight one, 33-32. Remember, archers, you have that 12 ring.
So for Randy Morocco and asking him, you know, what motivates him to stay in the sport of archery, it's an answer that we often find, Rob, Morgan, the people and just the love of archery itself.
Oh, absolutely. You meet a lot of great people, especially when we get to travel all around the U.S. And it's, you know, you look forward to going to a tournament. It's the only time you get to see these people, and they're great friends and just good people to be around.
This match for the #1 spot. If you're just joining us, we're here at the 2022 Lancaster Archery Classic here in Spooky Nook Sports Complex. For Tim Gillingham, he just dropped one a little low, still caught the 10 ring. The English that we see Tim Gillingham shoot with sometimes is a little bit bigger than the score. Thought that one looked like a 6.
10.
Yeah. So Randy had an opportunity there. It slipped away from him. 4 ends, 12 arrows total. Highest score wins. If we have a tie, we go to a tiebreaker. If we need that, we'll explain it to you. But right now, Tim Gillingham sitting on a 1-point lead as we're on arrow number 5 of 12 in this match.
11.
What are you seeing from Randy Morocco's shooting in his process?
I think we're just seeing just a little bit of nerves from Randy. He's been shooting solid all year. Really, really good scores. Like, we're just seeing just a little bit of nerves.
And we know that there are a variety of ways to hook up to the D loop and then send the arrow downrange. Thumb button. There's. Ooh. Yeah. Randy kind of gave the old stabilizer a little bit of a bump. You know, you hate to see that. But there's hinge releases, there's buttons, there's wrist strap releases. What's your preference? What do you choose to shoot, or are you one of those shooters that bounces around?
I don't really bounce around. I like the hinge. It just puts my mind at ease. It's one less thing I have to worry about. I just put the dot in the middle and aim and execute the shot, pull through and aim. And I can't be a Tim. If I put the button up there, my mind goes bad places. It might be in the middle one time and it might not.
When people come into your shop and they're interested in shooting, I mean, from a hunting standpoint, does anyone in hunting ever shoot a hinge type of release, or do you find it's just a competition type thing?
No, we have some guys that shoot the hinge. Most of the time I don't recommend it, just all the weird things that could go wrong out in the field. But yeah, we do have a few shooters that shoot a hinge. I shoot a hinge a lot of times during hunting also.
Is that right?
It's just, you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So why mix it up, right?
Yeah, pressure situation.
What do you recommend for a new shooter that's coming into your shop in terms of if they're interested in that compound?
A new shooter always using an index finger. It's an easier release to use, easier release to learn on.
11.
And then you kind of work them into their process
Yep.
before you worry about the release.
Yep.
But there you go. If you're a
Make
new
sure you
shooter,
got a good form and
Yep.
your process is good, your mechanics are good.
11.
third end of the final match for Masters Open Pro. This is a 50-year-old plus category. So if you turn 50, different sanctioning bodies, different organizations do it slightly differently. I believe in NFAA it's your birthday and then moving forward. USA
Yes.
Archery, it's just the year you're born. So if you turn 50 on December 31st, you can be 49 all year and shoot USA Archery in Masters Division.
Yep. ASAA is the same way also.
11.
Yep.
$11, 33.
By the way, if you're wondering, Tim Gillingham stands, what would you say, 6'5", 6'4", 6'5"?
Pretty close to that.
And his draw length is monstrous, isn't it? I think it's 32 and a half or 33.
32, 33, yeah.
Yeah.
With a 4-inch D-loop.
Yeah, with a 4-inch D. Oh, yeah. And Tim makes it work. He knows how to work the bow. You look at that Reckoning 38, and there's, a range of draw length. And so it can only go so far. And so then he'll use whatever he needs to do to get that draw length out there. And that D-loop is one of them.
Yeah, when you're the tall guy, it's not necessarily the good thing all the time. People are like, oh, your bow's fast, but there's a lot of mechanical issues when you got that long draw length you have to deal with.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with where the cams roll over, how much valley. There's just a lot to it. Now, what we have seen, Rob, recently, though, is a couple of the bow manufacturers started to come out with long draw versions of their bows. And that kind of shows you that I think the archery, what I've seen is more left-handed options available for people lately, more long draw. It kind of seems like the archery industry is responding to kind of a broader audience. Is that what you find from the shop perspective?
Definitely. Like before, a few years ago, if you were a long draw guy, we have one model. You're kind of pigeonholed into one model now. Every manufacturer's got one, if not two models, so some pretty good selections out there.
Final end of competition, Tim Gillingham with a lead. We haven't seen anybody this morning jump on that 12 button just yet.
If I was Randy, I might put some pressure on Tim here and do it, see if I can rattle him a little.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. And the other thing too is Tim is facing Randy's back, right? So if he steps on the light, Tim's going to see the light underneath his platform. Where if Tim steps on it, Randy might never see it.
Right.
11.
Yeah, he didn't like that one. Randy with a chance to get a point back. Got it.
$11.
Now he sent that one.
There we go.
Randy's stepping on the button. He's beating it up.
12 call.
There's the red light underneath the platform that indicates to the judges that he has called the 12. Let's see what happens here. Just above it. And there's the risk reward of that one. Although it wouldn't have changed the score, I think it was a safe play. There's the camaraderie in archery.
Randy Morocco is going to be our second place finisher in Masters Open.
They're going to check scores, but Randy Morocco will be second. Tim Gillingham will take the victory in the Masters Open category, coming from the second qualifying position.
Randy Morocco, great finish.
So
And our champion, Masters Open Pro, $4,000 from us, $5,000 from Bowtech, $200 from Bee Stinger, per stabilizer, I think, $400 from Gold Tip. Tim Gillingham, Masters Open Pro champ. Tim, people at home may be making fun of that, but you keep winning.
Hey, that was a pretty good debut for it, don't you think?
Absolutely. We're going to see that all over the ranges. How's it feel, Tim, to come back here and win this thing after so many years?
It really feels good. I struggle more getting to the show, I think, than I do in the shows usually. I just, for some reason, when I'm up there, it feels kind of surreal around me, and it don't really bother me. But out there, I'm in my own head all the time, so.
All right, Tim, congratulations. Great round, Masters Open Pro champ.
Now we're going to put Tim on the headset and find that's pretty good by PJ, I have to say. Contingency per stabilizer.
Yeah. Everybody.
All right, Tim. Greg White here. Rob Morgan here. Congratulations. Great shooting. And you had a couple that just dipped a little low there, but it looked like the match went pretty smooth for you. A couple matches.
Yeah, I mean, that's, always been my issue. Just, you got to stay strong in the shot, and when you don't, it starts to sag out the bottom. So, and in here, the lighting's a little different, so I can't see the centering ring on my scope very well. So you got to be very conscious to stay centered because I'm using a 42 millimeter scope. So, centering issues can hurt you a little bit more on stuff like, on a bigger scope lens, bigger peep.
This was the first tournament that you shot with that stabilizer setup, right?
Yeah, I mean, I put it together about 2 weeks ago.
Of course you did.
I changed releases the day before it came. Come on.
Of course. I mean, if you
It's
didn't
indoor.
change something, if you didn't change something, you wouldn't be Tim. But any changes for next week for Vegas, heading off to Vegas?
No, I'm actually super happy with my setup. It seems very, very forgiving. All I got to do is stay out of my own head, and it's really not hard at all. So.
Well, you did a great job today. Congratulations. And, enjoy all that stabilizer contingency money, as PJ pointed out.
Yeah.
One per bar. You're a rich man now.
Well, hey, I'm an indoor shooter now, right?
Yeah, that's your game. Indoor is your game. You heard it here first. Yeah. Congratulations, Tim, Masters Open Pro here at the 2022 Lancaster Archery Classic.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, we got another match coming up. Bow Hunter is on the way. Don't go anywhere. We'll return after this.